If you are in your 60s and planning to sell without knowing these new rules, you're about to make a very expensive mistake. Now, I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm trying to save you because that's what I do. The game has completely changed in selling a home. Since you bought your home, especially 20, 30, maybe 40 years ago, some of you lived in your home. And what worked back then, will cost you tens of thousands of dollars today, okay? And what's at stake is I've watched retirees like you lose their dream downsizing plans because they didn't know about a lot of different things, especially like the new commission lawsuits. I've seen people pay massive tax bills they could have legally avoided. I witnessed sellers accept offers $50,000 below what they should have gotten, all because they didn't understand how today's market actually works. The rules have changed. The buyers have changed. The laws have changed. And if you don't know what you're doing, I think you're going to pay for it, literally. So here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to walk you through the 10 critical things that absolutely you must know before you think about putting your for sale sign in your yard, okay? And here's the best part. I put together a complete guide with all 10 of these points, plus worksheets and checklists and action steps. You can actually download it completely free. You can get it right now through the link in the video description. Or just drop a comment in the chat there. It says critical. Say the word critical. And I'll send it straight to you. Trust me, you're really going to want this guide. It's literally saved my clients hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's do this right. So the first point of my 10, you really, really, really need to understand today's buyers, guys. They're not anything normal than what you expect. You need to know about who is buying homes today, because the thing is that buyers today are really nothing like the buyers from when you bought your house or even from 10 years ago. Nothing. Back when you bought your place, what did you do? You probably drove around neighborhoods looking for sale signs. There was no internet, right? Maybe you grabbed the newspaper, circled some listings, called an agent, scheduled some showings. But today's buyers, they're, scrolling through Zillow at midnight in their pajamas, looking at houses. They're watching virtual tours on their phones during their lunch break. They've already seen the inside of your house before they even have driven past it once. And these buyers, they're younger, they're busier, they have access to so much data. They know what's sold down the street. They know what's overpriced. They've probably already calculated your price per square foot before you even met them. And what does that mean to you? Well, basically your first showing isn't when someone walks through your door. Your first showing is online. Those photos, that's your first impression. If your home looks outdated, cluttered, or like it needs work in any of these photos, any work at all, they're going to scroll right past your home to the next listing. And the one thing you need to know that these buyers today, they want move-in ready. They don't want projects. They don't want deferred maintenance. They don't want charm that really means this place needs updating, right? They want to buy your house on Friday, host their friends for dinner on Saturday. That's the expectation now. That's why I'm such an advocate for doing these slow-cost fix-ups that generate high return, because that's what they want. So drop a comment below. Do you think your home is move-in ready? Be honest now. Number 2, the power of pricing. Let's talk about pricing. I know it's something important to you. It's where I see people mess up more than anywhere else. And big time, because the real truth about pricing, if your home isn't selling, it's almost always because it's overpriced, but not always. Because if you haven't done the things that you need to do to sell it, you can't price it at a price where the things are done. So it really depends. Let me tell you about one of our clients, Susan. She's a composite of maybe 50 clients who have done the same thing, had the same mistake before I met them. Her home was gorgeous, really beautiful place, but she listed for what she wanted to get, not what the market was actually paying. So it didn't sell, and she called me and she said, well, my neighbor sold for this much. I can't believe I didn't get this price. Yeah, Susan, your neighbor sold 2 years ago in a different market, or maybe even 6 months ago, the market was different. And Susan, their home was completely renovated. So what happened was when she was on the market with the other realtor, her home sat on the market week after week, month after month, and every week it just sat there. It got more stale. Buyers started thinking something was wrong. Meanwhile, 3 other homes on her street, priced correctly, sold, gone in like 30 days or less. So by the time I got to Susan, we got to talking about price, and I got her at the pinpoint price. I have this pinpoint price graph I want to show you. And I told her, just showed her this graph, and she was like, yeah, I'm outside that. She was like, drive-bys only, 12% plus. So we took a look, her number was, we made a couple little fix-ups, and we priced it at the jugular, in the bullseye. But before all that, before she got the price in the bullseye with me, she was paying mortgage and insurance and utilities and property tax for all those extra months. And that added up. Now, we ended up putting it in the bullseye because we did a few things in the house that needed to be tweaked. I think that really what made a difference. And we sold it right away. Here's the real facts, guys. Buyers won't even bother negotiating. They won't even go into a house if it's overpriced. They don't even go in anymore. They used to come in with a lowball offer, right? But not anymore. They just skip your house entirely and move on to the next one. So price it right from the day one, or prepare to be disappointed. That's the rule. All right. Number 3, brace yourself for inspections. Okay. Because this is where I see people lose their minds. Okay. Here's what you need to know going in, that inspections are often the hardest part of selling your home. Not the listing, not the showings, the inspection. But, before you get too panicky, let me explain something. Inspectors are going to find issues. Every little thing they list on that report. Matter of fact, I put down below a copy of a report from a house so you could see what it looks like. That's their job, guys. They could inspect a brand new house and they're still going to find something to put in their report. That's what they're getting paid for. I've seen inspectors write up things like the doorbell is quieter than standard, or there's a small chip in the tile grout in the guest bathroom, So here's what happened when you get your report. I'm an advocate, as you know, of doing pre-listing inspections. So if we get this report, it's going to be 20, 30 pages long, and you're going to read it and like, oh my God, I can't show this report. My house is falling apart, but it's not, and we're going to fix some little things. We'll put a nice report together, a little addendum stating about things you are going to fix and aren't going to fix. Your home is fine, guys. The inspector is just being very thorough, and the buyers are going to ask for repairs. So what we want to do is want to fix these things before the buyer comes through. The things, decide which things we're going to want to fix, and that's the strategy. Because they might want a credit for the roof that's getting older, or maybe they're worried about the crack in the foundation that's been there for 30 years and hasn't moved an inch, And this is where we're going to give you the real awesome piece of advice here. And I've said it already, and every single one of my clients do this. They get the pre-inspection before they list, like I was saying. And you might be thinking, oh my God, you want me to pay for an inspection before I sell it? Yes. Some of my clients, we offer a strategic marketing plan, and we pay for it. Depends on what plan you're on. And what's really brilliant about this home inspection report, when you get it, you control the narrative. You find out what's wrong with your house before the buyers do. No surprises, no panic, no scrambling. Now you can fix the major issues ahead of time. A leaky faucet, fixed. A loose handrail, fixed. A GFCI outlet that needs replacing, done. And the great part about this is you can hand the buyer your inspection report and say, here's what we found and here's what we fixed. And that's it. This does 3 really amazing things for you. I think it shows the buyer you're honest and transparent. You're not hiding anything. That kind of builds trust immediately. Second, it takes away their negotiating power on things that you've already addressed. You can't ask for a credit on something you already fixed. And the third thing it does, it dramatically reduces the chance of the transaction falling apart during their inspection period if they decide to do one. Now they know what's in the report. No shocking discoveries can make them want to walk away. Now, I've saved thousands of dollars for my clients and countless headaches because the seller did the pre-home inspection. Recently, we did a pre-home inspection and found out the roof needed some minor issues. Spent about $800 fixing it, and we had 5 buyers compete for their house. Why? Because the buyers felt confident. They knew exactly what they were getting. I think the pre-home inspection right now, especially in this as the market's balancing out, is even so more. It's just as important as it was I was doing home inspections back even during the pandemic, and I was getting exponentially more for my clients. So do yourself a favor, get that inspection. It's one of the smartest moves you can make. And my other advice for inspections in general, and this is a pearl, guys, stay calm, keep your emotions out of it. Don't lose a deal over $300 repair requests. I've seen people walk away from sales over small, silly stuff because they got their feelings hurt. Because the inspector's going to come in hard, and your feelings are going to be hurt. Before he leaves, you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe he tore my house apart like that. How dare him put that in the report? My house is perfect. It's not personal, it's business. You just want to be able to protect yourself when you're presenting your home to the buyer. If you were buying a home, you would also want that before you put the offer in, know what you're getting into, instead of wasting 3 weeks of your life and then do an inspection and then it'll fall through. Some things, guys, are just not worth negotiating, But seriously, the inspection, trust me on this one. And down below is a link called Pre-House Inspection. I did like a little video about it. Okay, point 4, understand the real cost of selling. Let's talk money, real money, because there are some big changes happening right now that you need to know about. You probably remember when you bought your house, the seller paid the buyer's agent commission, right? That's just how it works, standard practice. Well, things are changing, and they have changed. There have been some major real estate lawsuits recently that have turned the whole commission structure upside down. Now sellers get to choose whether they want to pay a buyer's agent or not. Sounds great, but it really is not, because the money has to come from somewhere. Someone's got to get paid. So it's really the same thing whether you pay for it or get more money for your house. Your best thing is just to pay the realtor and negotiate the price, get your house looking good, do all the things necessary to get a great sale price. But the reality is, if all the offers come in and all of them are asking you to pay their buyer agents, you're going to have to pay it, or you're just going to take less from your house. It's going to come from somewhere. Property values aren't going to go up by the amount of the compensation of 2.5% or 3, whatever it is. And the other thing about real estate agents and fees, you get what you pay for. I know it's tempting to go with a discount broker when you sell your house that charges half the commission. I get it. That's a lot of money that you save, but you actually lose more money when you work with a discount broker. Maybe the 1%, we save 1%, but someone like myself, I just made my seller $65,000 last weekend. Because when you have discount service, discount photos, discount marketing, discount negotiating skills, and ultimately discount results. I've seen people save a few thousand in commission and only leave thousands of dollars on the table because their agent didn't know how to properly market or negotiate, or just dropped the ball during all the transactional details getting it to settlement. So the right agent, well, I think they're worth every penny. The wrong agent, you're paying them even too much if they're cheap. That's exactly why I help people like you on YouTube find the right agent. Just go to realdealagent.com. I'll show you how to hire somebody who can get you results, and you don't have to pay me anything. We work with the realtor, and they give us a portion of their commission. And we hang out during the process and help you with all of our strategies. And when you use our services to help you find a realtor, you get a copy of my Home Selling Sharks book and my Model Home Mindset book. So let me help you connect with the perfect agent for you in your area. Number 5, preparing and staging your home. Let's talk about getting your home ready to sell. Well, because presentation is everything, and I mean everything. Remember what I said earlier, first showing is online, not when someone walks through the door, when they see your photos on their phone, like, oh, do I want to see this house or not? So what do buyers want to see? They want to see themselves living in your home. They don't want to see all your crap hanging around, your whole life, your memories, your pictures, and all your stuff. They want to imagine their life. If you're older and you have furniture that matches your age, you want to get rid of that furniture. It doesn't relate to that buyer. Maybe just get rid of the furniture altogether and we just put in AI photos. Here's what that means. All right, you got to declutter. I mean, seriously declutter. Scrub. This is not just tidying up, it's actually removing things from your home. Family photos covering every wall, take them down. The collection of decorative plates you've been adding for the last 40 years, pack them up. Refrigerator magnets from every vacation you've ever taken, gone. I know it feels weird, it's your house, but remember, you're moving. You're trying to sell. Take your owner hat off and put your seller hat on. It needs to feel like it could be their home. So you need to depersonalize everything. Neutral paint colors. I'm talking about our new color that we've been using the last 4 or 5 months. It's called baby fawn. Baby fawn's amazing. I know you love that burgundy accent wall in the dining room, but buyers don't. They're imagining how much will be to paint that wall. They don't want to paint. They want to move right in. Listen, guys, staging doesn't mean you need to go out and buy all new furniture. It just means, arranging what you have in a way that makes the room look spacious, bright, and inviting. Sometimes it means removing furniture, like I talked about. It sounds backwards, but a room with less furniture actually looks bigger. That huge sectional you love might need to go in storage for a few weeks. And here's something that most agents don't talk about. That's why I get into sellers' homes 2 to 3 years before they're even thinking of selling. You need to start decluttering and getting ready way earlier than you think. Not just months, like years before you're going to sell. Are you selling in 2 years? Let's get started. Why? Because you're going to have to sort through all this stuff eventually. Why do you want to do it in 1 month when you can have 2 years to do it? And most likely, your kids aren't going to want most of the stuff that you have. That china set you've been saving for your daughter, she might live in a studio apartment and doesn't host formal dinners. They don't do formal things anymore. Maybe you have a baseball collection of cards. Your son might not even be interested in that. So start now, donate, sell, toss. Make it easier on yourself and make your home show ready at the same time. Especially for you empty nesters, this is for you. Number 6, be aware of market uncertainties. This might stress you out a little bit, but you need to know it anyway, because the market has uncertainties, right? I've been 32 years in this business. I've been through many ups and downs. Sales can fall through, and you need to be prepared for that possibility. Not on our watch, but if you go with the wrong agent, that might happen. Most buyers aren't paying cash, although in the pandemic, they were paying cash. Most are getting mortgages. Sometimes they fall through, or the settlement date's 2 weeks late. Maybe the buyer might lose their job. Maybe interest rates went up and they don't qualify anymore. Maybe the appraisal came in low and the bank won't lend them enough and you have to then lower your price some more. Or maybe they just got cold feet. And here's what a lot of people don't realize. Earnest money isn't always kept. If the buyer backs out, if they back out during the inspection period, or if their financing falls through, they get their money back. And then you're back to square one. That's why you want to get this inspection done ahead of time. There are several people I know who had their home under contract 3 times before it finally sold. 3 times. Each time something happened with the buyer's financing. It was emotionally exhausting for them. I heard one of these stories from my YouTuber. Sorry I wasn't there to help you, but it wouldn't happen on my watch. So here's what you need to do. Understand timelines, understand contingencies in your contract, know when you're actually safe versus when things can fall apart. Talk to your agent. And don't make any big decisions based on your pending sale until you've actually closed. Don't put a deposit on your new place. Don't donate all your furniture. Don't book the moving truck for next Tuesday. Wait till that money is in your bank account. Then you can relax. Number 7. Unfortunately, guys, the agent that you choose can make or break you. It's a big one. And honestly, this is, I think, the most important thing I can tell you today. The agent you choose can literally make you or cost you tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes hundreds of thousands. Let me paint 2 scenarios. Scenario 1, you hire your friend's daughter who just got a real estate license. Yoo-hoo! She's sweet, she means well, but she's never sold a house in your price range at all. She takes some photos on her iPhone, lists the house, and puts a lockbox on the door, and then waits. That's it. You get a few showings, no offer, and your home just sits for months and months. Now, scenario 2, you hire an experienced real deal realtor, someone I referred you, who specializes in your area and your price point. They bring in a professional photographer, do the drone photos. They stage your home, give you a list of low-cost fix-ups that generate a high return. They market it on every platform. They host multiple open houses. They bring in qualified buyers. They get you multiple offers, and they sell for over asking in 2 weeks. And what I do is I sell them in 2 days. Same house, different agent, completely different outcome. So here's what you really, really, really need to understand. Not all agents are created equal. Don't just hire someone because they're the big name in town, or because they're your neighbor, or because you saw their face on a bus bench. Ask them lots of questions. The questions to ask a realtor before hiring them, putting a list down below. I have a whole video on how to hire a realtor. Check my videos. What is your experience with homes in my price range? How many have you sold in the last year? What is your marketing strategy? How do you handle negotiating? Do you do a pre-home inspections? How do you price a home? Do you have a coming soon plan? Do you have a Saturday showtime? Things like that. So that's why I create the free guide with all the must-ask questions before you hire a realtor. Like I said, you can grab it down below, the link in the description, or just drop a comment that says the word realtor, and I'll send it straight to you. And watch out for what I call lockbox agents. They're the agents who list your home, stick a lockbox on your door, put it in the MLS or the multiple listing, and then basically disappear. They're not actively marketing. They're not bringing buyers. They're just there. All right. So you need someone who's going to work for you, someone who's going to understand today's digital marketing, who knows how to take professional photos, create virtual tours, use social media, target the right buyers, all the things they should do, and do that pre-home inspection. The right agent, I call them the real deal agent, is someone who is a listing-based realtor, and they only work with listings. Because when you have the wrong agent, you're paying them too much, way too much, no matter what they charge. Number 8, timing is everything. All right, let's talk timing, guys. When should you actually list your house? Well, here's the truth. There's no single perfect season anymore, especially since the pandemic. The right time to sell is when you're ready. But if you want some insider knowledge about all this, traditionally spring and summer are the hot seasons, right? Flowers are blooming, grass is green. Families want to move before school starts. You get a lot of that these days. Makes a lot of sense, right? But what's really interesting is winter and fall can actually be great times to sell. I just sold a house for $50,000, another one for $65,000 over asking, and right now it's October or November. Last January was a bonkers of a time in January. The prices just went sky high. You just never know. You need an agent who's going to understand the market and tell you when, if it's a good time right there. In the winter, right? Because in the winter, there's less competition. In the spring, you might be competing with, 15 other similar houses. But like I said, like right now, November, maybe just 3 or 4, right? And the buyers are looking in winter. They're serious. They're serious buyers. They're not just browsing on a Sunday, or a Saturday afternoon. They need to buy. They're motivated. There's something a little bit cozy about showing a house in the winter. You have the fireplace going, some warm lighting, maybe some cookies baking. It can create this come home feeling that's really powerful. I wouldn't list, though, during major holidays. Nobody's really house shopping the week before Christmas or Thanksgiving. They're basically really distracted and busy, and they're not really thinking about moving. So pick your timing based on when you're ready. Talk to your real deal agent and when your house is ready, okay? When you really think you're 100% ready to go, all the repairs have been done, things like that. Don't stress too much about hitting the perfect season, because you don't know what's going to happen 6 months from now, especially with all the things going on with the world. It's sometimes better just to get sold now and not worry 6 months from now you're carrying your cost of your house could be, $36,000 over 6 months. You might as well just sell, because you won't make that money back. All right. So it really depends upon what your needs are. Number 9, buying your next home. Okay. This might surprise you. Buying your next home in your 60s can be a little more complicated than you think. You remember how easy it was to get a mortgage when you were working? You show your pay stubs, your tax returns, boom, right? You're approved. Well, if you're retired on a fixed income, things get a little trickier. Banks want to see active income. Social Security does count, and pension. But if you're living off retirement savings, it's hard to document and harder to qualify with. And something that's kind of gone extinct, but it might be coming back. It's called bridge loans. Remember those bridge loans where you could borrow against your current home to buy your next one before selling? I heard it's coming back, but you have to check in your area. It's rare, but the banks do have them. Some banks, some don't want to do it anymore, especially they don't want to do it for retirees. So here's what usually happens when you sell a house. You have the first option, you just sell first, and then you buy. That's kind of the safest. But it's really stressful because you sell your house, you move into temporary housing, or you stay with family, then find it and buy your next place. Not ideal, but it does work. And the second option is you buy first, then sell. That only works if you have enough cash or assets to qualify for a mortgage on the new place while still owning your current home. Most people don't. And option 3, you kind of try to coordinate both sales to close at the same time. That's why I want you to get your home ready for sale, so that if you find something, we can just put the home on the market, and then you can match the settlement dates. And this is even why you want to hire a real estate agent, someone who's done that before, because it's really hard. It's like trying to land 2 airplanes at the same time. You know, it can work, but it requires perfect timing, great agents, and a little bit of luck. So my advice is talk to the mortgage broker earlier, you know, like months before you plan to list. Get your home ready for sale so you can put it on the market as quickly as possible. The idea is you need to qualify on paper to buy without selling. You need that documentation. All right, you have to do it. You can't wait until you found it, because you might not be able to get the financing, or you just will lose the house because you didn't come in, early enough. But be realistic about your timeline, okay? Buying and selling at the same time is really stressful, guys. Give yourself some flexibility, all right? Number 10, managing your emotions and let go. We've covered a lot of technical stuff today. Let's talk about something that's equally important, but nobody really prepares you for, is the emotions. Selling a long-time home isn't just a transaction. It's not just signing papers and moving boxes. It's, you're leaving this home. I get it. You're leaving this home. You raise your kids here. You celebrate anniversaries, holidays. You create a lifetime of memories. The now guest room was, your son Tommy's room, or you could still picture his high school graduation photos on the wall. That kitchen, you cooked tens of thousands of meals. You know exactly which burner runs hot and which cabinet door sticks. The backyard, your grandkids, learned how to walk, or your kids learned how to walk there on the grass. It's really hard, like really, really hard. And that's okay to feel sad about it. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel conflicted. I've sat at kitchen tables with clients who were absolutely ready to downsize logically, but emotionally it was just really tough. They were a complete mess, and that's completely normal. A lot of times I feel as a realtor, I am also a therapist, but I enjoy all my clients. That's why last year, of all those sales we did, only 2 came from a seller seminar. The rest are all referred or repeat clients, so that means we're doing something right. So I want you to do this. I want you to know that give yourself permission to feel whatever you're feeling. Don't let anyone rush you or tell you it's just a house. It's not just a house to you. I get it. It's your home. And then next, have an agent who understands this. They should be talking about what's important to you about selling. They should understand all the emotions that are going wrong. That's why finding someone that has a senior designation matters too. They are trained to handle the emotional aspects of these transitions with sensitivity. Someone like myself has that. Now, that's not necessary, but you want to find someone who understands where you're at. And someone who, when they first come to your house, the first thing they want to know is not about selling your house, but they want to know what's important about you and what you're going through first. And that's what we do. We sit down first, But the next thing you want to do is, you need to decide what, your stress is worth, What is it worth? Sometimes you might get 2 offers, one's for a little more, but it's complicated, weird contingencies, long closing timeline, demanding buyers, and the other offer is slightly less money, but it's clean, simple, quick, and low stress. Which one do you take? Now, here's what I tell my clients. Sometimes it's worth taking a little less money for a lot less stress, and peace of mind has value because you put your home, you take the higher price, and then they don't settle, then you're back on the market, and you could sell for a less price then. So your emotional well-being does have some value. So what I always say is don't let your pride or your stubbornness cost you your sanity. This process is hard enough, guys, without making it harder on yourself. And lastly, remember this, you're not saying goodbye to your memories. Your memories, they come with you. You're not losing your family history. That's in your heart, not in your walls. You're just making room for the next chapter. And that next chapter, it can be really beautiful too. Less maintenance, more freedom, more time for what really matters, more adventures, more time with people that you love. Sometimes letting go of the house means getting back to living your life instead of maintaining a building. What I tell people to do is take photos of all the things they have memories of and then put it on one of those picture frames that repeat, like pictures come on automatically. People love that. That's what I'm doing when I'm selling my house. Oh, a tax reminder I have for you. Before I forget, let's do a quick recap on taxes because this one's really important. Remember that old over 55 exemption everyone talks about? Well, yeah, that's been gone since 1997. Here's what replaced it. And honestly, I think it's better than for most people. So if you're single, you can exclude a huge chunk of your profit from taxes. And if you're married and file a joint, you can exclude even more. It's basically double. So it's $250,000 if you're single, and then $500,000 sale price. If anything less than 500, it's a deduction, okay? But you have to have lived in this house as your primary residence for at least 2 out of the last 5 years before you sell. And those 2 years don't have to be consecutive, which is nice. But in some of the high-cost areas, homes are worth so much that you might actually exceed that tax-free amount, which is $500,000 in Pennsylvania, like I said, and $250,000 if you're single, $500,000 if you're married. And anything over that, Uncle Sam wants is cut. So before you sell, talk to your CPA, make sure you understand your tax situation, calculate what your actual gain is going to be, because the last thing you want is a surprise tax bill that you weren't expecting, guys. And look, I wish I could clone myself and help every single person watching this video. I would love to. But sadly, I figured out that technology, I haven't figured that out yet. I mean, I'm not licensed in your area, but I know what I'm doing. But what I've done is I've spent years building a network of incredible agents across the country. And I'm not talking about just any agents. I'm talking about people I would trust with my own parents. So people who actually care, who return your calls, the good negotiators, or real deal agents, listing specialists. And these people that I vet, they won't just stick a sign on your lawn and disappear. They understand that you're going through a huge life transition. It's not just a transaction. So if you want me to connect you with someone in your area who's going to treat you like family and fight for the absolute best outcome for you, just head over to my website, realdealagent.com. No pressure, no obligation, just real people who know their stuff and actually give a darn about doing right by you, because at the end of the day, having the right person in your corner, that is everything. All right, let's bring this home. We just went over 10 critical things you must know about selling your home in your 60s. But don't stop there. I put together a free, complete guide that dives even deeper into everything we talked about today. Inside, you'll find worksheets, checklists, step-by-step action plans to help you sell smarter and with confidence. The link's below. Go grab it. No cost, no catch, just real tools to help you take the next step. And remember this, you've worked so hard for what you have. You built a life in that home. Every wall, every room holds a piece of your story. But this next chapter, it's about you, not what your kids think you should do, not what your neighbors did, not, you want it to be your future. It's what you want your future to look like. You got it, all right? You can do it. You're not alone here. And this isn't the end. It's the start of an incredible new chapter. And before you go, and if you're getting ready to sell, make sure you watch this next video, what not to tell buyers, even if you think you should, when you're selling your home. It's the perfect follow-up to this one, because once you know what to do, you also need to know what not to say if you want to protect yourself and get top dollar for your home. I'll see you over there.